I think you're right. Like it's funny. I mentioned this to you before the show, but like I think my echo chamber has been so soundly built. Cause I've mainly seen people either being sarcastic in reaction to, or just like complaining about knee-jerk reactions, and I'm yet to see any of the knee-jerk reactions really. But I believe, I'm led to believe by some of these tweets and posts that I've seen across social media that they do exist. And I think it's been a bit of a thing all season where we've questioned certain players and their roles in the squad. And football is such a fickle sport. I think sport in general, the world has become fickle because news cycles move so quickly now. So Diogo Jota is the hero in midweek. He's someone who we're all saying has a role to play in the squad. After his performance yesterday, once again, he's not good enough because we forget about Wednesday and we move on so quickly. I think there's a genuine Richard Hughes and Arne sit down in the summer and they look at someone like Diogo Jota, and really what they do is weigh up everything. They look at everything. They don't just look at one good performance. No. Diogo Jota putting against Everton. They don't just look at one bad performance putting against Fulham.
What's his trend? How's his physique? What's his injury?
All of these things. What's the value for him on the market? And this is the thing I keep coming back to whenever we've done gutter shows and things like that this season. I keep saying,
we should sell this player, right? Who's buying him?
Yeah, exactly. If Diogo Jota's only going to fetch you 15, 20 million this summer, I'd rather keep him at Liverpool for what 15, 20 million is worth to Liverpool Football Club.
Because you will not buy a player as good as Diogo Jota when he's in form for 15 million.
Darwin Núñez, by contrast, I would imagine fetches because he's young and because there is still that potential there and because he causes problems for defenders. I believe you could probably fetch upwards of 50 million in this market.
Oh, causing problems for defenders. Is this the same Darwin Núñez we brought on yesterday? Are you sure about this?
I'll grant you. I'm more meaning causes chaos for defenders because he's backing into people. I even think in being offside, he makes defenders question whether they should be dropping a little yard or stepping up a little yard. But if you step up a yard, he's quick enough to go in behind. I think he also makes
midfielders question whether they should be playing the game with him or not.
Exactly. And they're the things I think people will sit down and look at in the summer. So like no matter what people are moaning about on social media and what have you, and that's always going to happen. It's part of the course. There have been people moaning on the concourses and up in the terraces back in the day as well, as much as it was on social media.
Well, we used to just moan in ale houses.
Exactly.
But I remember standing on the cop going, Dalglish is finished. He's not been the same since he broke his cheekbone. Souness is finished. Why is he still on the pitch? And they blam something in from 40 yards. And it's kind of like we've all talked nonsense for decades.
We all do
it's our job. But at the moment, it's not even like they'll sit down in the summer. They've sat down 6 months ago.
Of course.
The conversation's probably been going on since the first day Slot came in. And it's been a constant assessment of who do I want in the team I'm going to build going forward, because the team that Slot and Hughes are going to build is not the team we're looking at. It's the team of who do we keep? And one of the questions there will be, what more does Harvey Elliott have to do to get increased game time? Because every time he's come on the pitch recently, apart from obviously the Plymouth FA Cup game where nobody came out with any glory, Harvey's come on and affected the game. And he nearly scored the equaliser yesterday.
Well, that's where I wonder if that's because of Slot's sit down with Richard Hughes. That's probably happened months ago, as you said, and I wonder if they've sat down and gone, listen, Harvey Elliott is a brilliant talent, Federico Chiesa is a brilliant talent. We like what we've got in the sort of top end of our talent way more than we like those two. We don't think it's beneficial for us and for Liverpool to get those 2 minutes. I would disagree with that as sort of a much less informed observer than the two of them, because I don't get to watch Harvey Elliott and Chiesa in training. Harvey Elliott's attitude will lead me to believe he's very good in training. Chiesa seems like a smiley lad. Doesn't always necessarily translate to being good in training. I'd imagine he's at least good to be around.
Mario Balotelli was a very smiley lad whenever he played football.
Exactly. But they might be two people who Arne Slot and Richard Hughes don't fancy as being part of his plans. So I can sort of take the idea that Slot may not want to bring them on too much in games to impact games because he doesn't see it as beneficial to the squad. He'd rather sort of focus on squad chemistry and all those things. Again, it comes back to the position that we're in. We've put ourselves in such a good position, and Arne Slot has been so good for so much this season as well. He gets to make mistakes, and I've loved recently that in his press conference he's been talking a little bit more about the mistakes that he is making and almost like tearing down that idea of managerial perfection and this perfection that we constantly expect from these footballers in this football team. I like that basically he's looking at it and going, listen, I make mistakes all the time. I'm still making mistakes this season. I'm learning the Premier League, I'm learning about the squad, I'm learning about these players. To me, I don't think he made any mistakes really yesterday. I think he ends up bringing on the lads that we all want to see more minutes of. I don't believe in the team selection he made a mistake, because I don't imagine Conor Bradley could have started that game of football, and that really would have been the only change I'd have made, save for maybe leaving Luis Diaz in the team over Cody Gakpo. But then Cody Gakpo was brilliant, so Slot makes a tit to me in that sense too.
But then the sub, and again, this has been said on shows going back as well. Slot will follow the medical advice and the sporting advice completely, no matter what the game state is. If Cody Gakpo can only do whatever he did yesterday, 60 minutes, then Cody Gakpo is only going to do 60 minutes. And it doesn't matter how well he's playing, because they are not going to expose him for any further injury. And that's understandable, but I'd have preferred to have seen Diaz come on in the centre for Jota. It would have made more sense in terms of the shape of the team. 100%. But if that means that we then lose Cody Gakpo for another 4 games, it doesn't make any sense.